Dear brothers and sisters, the saints in Christ, welcome to an episode. This is like, I would say, it's like a special and amending episode to the previous one. The title of this episode is The Legend of the Two Cabinets Reveals the Lie of the Fiery Preacher, Father Ermia Boules. In the previous episode, number 135, titled The Annex of the Book of Esther, I presented like a short clip for Father Ermia Boules, who is called by his people the fiery preacher. And I missed something there. However, there are three people, one from Facebook named Brother Adil Posa, and this is his photo, and also two other friends from the YouTube channel, Sister D, she's actually searching for the truth or the biblical truth at the moment, and also the blessed brother Medhat Ernest. By the way, I put the names in the alphabetical order, so I put Adil first, then Didi, then brother Medhat. All right. Definitely, I would like to thank them for their observation about, like I would say, a fatal knockout that actually I missed last episode, and this to show that it's good, or it's actually important, that when you listen or you hear anyone, and I'm the first one to do this for me, check behind me. Maybe you find me mistaken in something. Maybe it might open you like another way to search for something, or another way how to think about something, critical thinking. All right. Okay. Let's watch the short clip, as it is really a disastrous one, and come back again.
بطليموس ده كان بيحب القراية والكتابة، وعمل مكتبة في اسكندرية اسمها مكتبة ايه؟ الاسكندرية. المكتبة اللي اتحرقت. المكتبة اللي عملها قال انا عايز اجمع كل كتب ايه؟ العالم. دخل اورشليم، دخل الهيكل. فين الكتبة؟ قال هم الكتبة. راح واخد منهم كم واحد؟ 70 واحد. خد منهم ايه؟ 70 كاتب. وقال لهم هاتوا الكتاب المقدس بالامر. فتحوا الدواليب، كانت الدواليب تبقى في الحيطة، فتحوا الدواليب وجابوا ايه؟ الرولات كلها. الرولات اللي جابوها كم رول؟ 66 رول. نسيوا ايه؟ في دولاب صغير كان فيه السبع اصفار دول. في دولاب صغير كان فيه ايه؟ السبع اصفار دول. ما جابوهمش.
First of all, the objective of this is not like to defame someone, but like to show the people who are blindly listening and following those people who are actually, what can I say, they breathing lies. Not only the fiery preacher, but all of them. All right. So what actually did he say? He said the following, that Ptolemy was interested like to translate all the important books of the whole world from its original language into the Greek language to be put into the great library of Alexandria. All right. And he said actually Jews had their holy scriptures in cabinets. And he said there were two cabinets. All right. The first cabinet, this is what he said, had 66 books, and the small one has 7 books. This means what? The 66 books in the first cabinet should be what we have in our hands, which is 39 books of the Old Testament plus the 27 books of the New Testament. And this is what I mentioned last time. But the problem is that I missed the Subtiguan translation took place in year 280 before Christ. So the first big lie that he said, in the first cabinet there are 66 books. What are those 66 books? The 39 of the Old Testament plus 27 of the New Testament. And here is the problem that I missed. How come in year 280 before Christ, this is where the Subtiguan translation took place, the New Testament was available? So actually this shows he actually put like a huge big lie to you, and I missed it. All right. Of course, after I got this notification, I could see now, by the way, there is a similar lie in the second cabinet. What did he say? He said also in the second cabinet are the 7 books. By the 7 books, he means, or he meant, the 7 books, the Apocrypha books, or they call it the second canonical books, and they accused the Protestant that they excluded them. What are those ones? Those ones are Tobit, Judith, Wisdom of Solomon, Wisdom of Yeshua, son of Sirach, Baruch, and listen to the last two, First and Second Maccabees. Obba. Now this is another lie. That's why I said it's the legend of the 2 cabinets. So we know now the first lie in the big cabinet, or like the first cabinet. Now second cabinet the same. Why? What happened about the Maccabees? The Maccabees itself, it was like some revolution against the Romans at that time. What time? Between year 170 before Christ up to nearly year 70 before Christ. In other words, it was in the 2nd century before Christ. So if the first and second Maccabees, even the event themselves, were in the 2nd century before Christ, how come they were available in the second cabinet in year 280 before Christ? Can't be, because 280 is nearly about 100 years between the 280 and nearly 170. You're talking nearly about 100 years before the event actually took place. I would say even before the father of Judas, the Maccabi, started his revolution. So now we guarantee now what Father Ermia Boules said, absolute lies. This story, whether he himself made it up, we don't know, because he didn't actually mention that someone or brought it from what source or whatever. I think he made it up, but unfortunately he made 2 big mistakes. By the way, could be a third mistake in this one. All right, but at least now we got like 2 big ones, like would label him, and everyone believes in this, as a big liar. What is the third one could be? The third one could be the following. When we're talking about, you remember, when we're talking about the Book of Judith, Father Daoud Lamei said the event itself of Judith could happen. This is what Father Daoud Lamei said, the famous preacher, between the exile of the Assyrian and the exile of the Babylonian, which about between 8th and 7th century. But he added, but the book itself could be written in the 2nd century before Christ, which doesn't make any sense, but this is what he said. So if we take his word that the Book of Judith was written in the 2nd century before Christ, this means this book should not be available in that 2nd cabinet at year 280, which is the 3rd century before Christ. Dear brother and sister, what is my objective of this? Not like to defame anyone. They all live on that. They all breathe in lies. But just to show you that unfortunately you following blind people. And if a blind leads a blind, what happens? Both of them will fall in the ditch. By the way, in the book of the Apostle Canons, they say actually the book of Maccabees are 3 books. However, I will not argue too much about this, because my focus now is if what the famous fiery preacher was saying the truth or not. Absolutely not. How come the New Testament books and the Maccabees books were available in the 3rd century before Christ, while actually the New Testament, of course, should be after Christ was born, many years after that even, and the books of Maccabees were written, and even the event itself happened in the 2nd century. So during the Subtiguan translation, these books were not, the event itself didn't happen. These people were not even known. Even could be their fathers even were not even born. All right. There is a more huge, big lie than the Maccabees one. What is it? It's all in this book. This book issued by Maktabat al-Mahabba, which is an Coptic Orthodox bookshop, big one. All right. In this book, page 99, it's in Arabic, but of course I'll translate it. It's regarding the introduction of the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, whatever they call the Wisdom of Solomon. Again, we get the same problem. Some they say was written by Solomon and was lost during Ezra and were found later on. Of course, it's a lie, because Jews do not have it as a canon book. But there is another big issue here, because in the introduction they put that there is a chance that the author, this is what's in the introduction of the book of Wisdom of Solomon, he said, could be written by a Jew who used to live in Egypt, and he is very much aware of the Greek philosophy. But listen to this. And he lived between year 50 to 15 before Christ. So if there is a chance that this book was written between year 50 to 15 before Christ, this means in the 2nd cabinet, this book was not there at all, was not even the author himself was not even born, or even his dad wasn't born. Could be even his grandfather was not born. All right. So if you are sure that this book, the book of whatever you call the Wisdom of Solomon, if you are sure it was in the 2nd cabinet, then you wouldn't put the probability that could be written by a Jew who used to live in Egypt and was written between year 50 and year 15 before Christ. So this means what? The whole system, you're contradicting yourselves, guys. You're contradicting yourselves. If, according to the fiery preacher, these books were there, and also, of course, Wisdom of Solomon should have been there, this means you wouldn't put the chance that could be written by this Jew between 50 and 15 before Christ. So this means what? Again, the whole system is based on lies. Dear brother and sister, some of the, I would say, respected systems could actually remove a president from his position, or prime minister from his position, or manager from their positions because of intentionally lying. How much more if you know that you live actually in an organization, as we've mentioned over the how many 130 something now, or very close to 140 episodes, that we show you the whole system is founded and living on lies. They breathing lies, and you go blindly behind them. Now I would like to go to little things. Why the traditional people are so fighting for the traditional stuff? For the excluded or Apocrypha books, because they love superstition stuff. The second thing, they love superstition dogmas, which you will come to after we finish the series. We will bring what is the like terrible stuff they have taken from these books, and they put it as required for your salvation. All right. Second thing I would like to give you some information about, just in case if someone asks, because someone asked about what I just mentioned now. What is the project that actually Ptolemy was after? Ptolemy actually wanted to translate all the important, not religious only, all the important books of the whole world from its original language into the Greek language and put them into the great library of Alexandria. And of course he will put every group of like certain legacy together. So what happened? He ordered all the important, not only the religious books of the Jews, to be translated. So for the religious ones, like the Old Testament, it was translated by 70 elders. That's why they call it Subtiguan. All right, and to put them, I would say, for example, in a certain like aisle for the Jews' legacy, but also together with this Old Testament books, he put also the other important books. One of them, for example, is the Book of Josephus. He is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, historian, Jewish. Like he's very accurately was recording everything. So does this mean this book also is, I would say, a holy scripture, because it was in that section, and we found it with the Subtiguan translation. Subtiguan translation, it has a section in addition to this section, the holy books, the other important books could be even fiction stories, like that Judith. I think it's a fiction story. Judith, Tobit, I think also it's a fiction story. But Maccabees, it is historical book or books. So if they've been translated, or if they were written even in Greek, and you put them in that legacy thing, doesn't mean they were in Hebrew and translated. For example, the Maccabees definitely were written in Greek. That was that time like that. I'll give you an example. You may remember it. The Book of Esther itself. Remember, after verse 3 of chapter 10, that Saint Jerome himself has said, we found that was the end of it, and he said whatever after that was in Greek, and we did not translate it, and he said he crossed it off. So the annex of Esther was in Greek. So it was also within, I would say, the section or the aisle of the Jewish legacy or tradition stuff, but being there doesn't mean it is a holy thing. So they try to make it a holy thing. Next one, why in the New Testament, the writers of the New Testament got the quotes of the Old Testament from the Subtiguan language, which is the Greek one. Very simple. The New Testament was written in what language? In Hebrew, in Greek, not Hebrew, right? In Greek. So when you write in Greek, and now you'd like to import a prophecy from the Old Testament, if you get it in Hebrew, you put it in Hebrew, nobody will understand anything, and doesn't make sense, all right? But you get it from the Greek translation, which is the Subtiguan translation. Why is that? I'll give you an example. If St. Paul is writing something, and now he would like to get a verse, a prophecy from the Old Testament, or a verse for any reason, to put it in his writings. He knew Hebrew, by the way. He was mastering Hebrew and Greek. But now, either he will have it Hebrew, then he himself translated it, or he might get the verse already translated into Greek by accredited translators. So instead of relying on his own, he took a translation that was accredited, accepted by the Jews, made by the Jews themselves. So there is no point that he take the Hebrew, put it in Hebrew, or take the Hebrew and he translates it his own translation. It's already ready in a translation that actually was accredited and respected. So it's easy. Of course, this would be the best for him to do, and the logic thing. All right, now I would like to, and of course, if you would like now to translate something, you must go to the Hebrew one. You cannot, for example, if you translate the Hebrew into Greek, then you take the Greek, put it into Arabic, now you make more troubles, by the way. If you go like further and further, then definitely you will lose the meaning, and you could end up with totally different thing. All right, now I would like to put like a short, like I would say, talk about law. I'll put the introduction quickly, then I'll go read only 3 or 4 verses. You know, Ahab, that was the worst king in the Old Testament, and his wife Jezebel, the worst queen. All right, the Lord just gave up with him. Then what happened? It says the following. There was a habit at the time when a king is going like for a war, he normally have like sort of, you can say, like an assembly with those like majors and army people, and they call the prophets to tell them what would happen. Shall we go or whatever? Normally, those false prophets used to say, hey, you go, you'll be all right, man, you like that. All right. So Ahab had plenty of the Baal prophets. So they told him that everything is all right. That time, Ahab, the king of the northern state Israel, he invited also the king of the southern state, Judah, who was King Jehoshaphat at that time. So King Jehoshaphat went up to the northern state, and during that meeting, and the prophets kept saying, all good, like that. Then Jehoshaphat said, is there any prophet here for the Lord? And he meant by the Lord here, Jehovah. But Ahab has all of the Baal. Then Ahab said, there is one for the Lord, it meant for Yahweh. And but he never says something good about me. Of course, he doesn't say anything about you because you worship Baal. But anyway, he said, okay, let's invite him or call him. Then also he said, okay, he sent some of the people, go and bring him to prophesy for us what's going to happen in the war. During people bringing him, they began to tell him, listen, all the prophets over there say to the king everything is all right. He said, as I live, I will say what the Lord puts in my mouth. Anyway, this prophet, by the way, named Micaiah, the son of Imlah. Then Micaiah, son of Imlah, said to Ahab, of course, there hear the word of God, of the Lord. So what is the word? He saw a vision. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by, on his right and on his left. And the Lord said, who will persuade Ahab to go up, that he may fall at Ramoth Gilead? So one spoke in this manner, and another spoke in that manner. Then a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. The Lord said to him, in what way? So he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, you shall persuade him and also prevail. Go out and do so. Dear brother and sister, don't you think the spirit, the lying spirit now, is actually filling this organization called church? The major ones, including even since Pope Shenouda, same. So brother and sister, wake up, because if you go this way, you will like get used to listen and even to use lying to support whatever you want to say. Can you see that the spirit now is totally overcome the organization? The most famous you are, the most ranking people are actually very freely they lie. Dear brother and sister, listen to this. They confessed in their books that all the books that attributed to the apostles are not written by the apostles, and they still said we have to consider it, we have to do what's in there and to consider it as equal as to the Bible. So actually they believed the lie. They confessed that, for example, there is 84 false canons were added to the 20 canons of the Council of Nicaea, and they still accepted this. All the books like the Didache, the Scalia, they said not written by the apostles, and they say we will take what's in there. I'll give you also one example that is a massive one. Watch with me on the screen. There is a book called Apostolic Constitutions. So what do you expect of this? Written by the apostles. They know very well it is not written by the apostles. Now listen to this. The author of the Apostolic Constitutions. So who is the author? If it is apostolic, then it should be the apostolic, some of the apostles, but it is not. The Apostolic Constitution has transferred the text of the Didascalia to his books after amending and altering it. I haven't finished yet. He deleted some of it and added plenty to it. Oh my goodness. So what credibility? It's still not finished yet. Therefore, it is not accurate to say the text of the Apostolic Constitution is the lengthy text of the Didascalia. In addition, the Coptic translator of the Apostolic Constitution, and after him the translator of them from Arabic, from Coptic into Arabic, has also modified the text. Listen to this. Has modified the text whenever that text contradicts the teachings of his Coptic church. So what do you reckon now about this Apostolic Constitutions? What do you reckon? What sort of credibility? It's all lie. It's all full of lies. So what's your plan? Will continue? It's up to you. Dear brother and sister, I wanted to show you, not to defame any person, but to expose them to you. Like, how come that he says 27 books of the New Testament were available in that cabinet, and he speaks as if he's an eyewitness, while actually they were 280 before Christ. Like, even Christ was not here yet. It's still 280 to come. And even after him, when he started writing the New Testament. Dear brother and sister, I leave this with you. If you continue with them, you know what happens? You will believe the lie. That they already believing the lie. They admitted, and they say we must consider it as equal to the Bible and listen to it. So you know what happens? Definitely, the Lord left them, and now the lying spirit is overtaking them, and the lying spirit is actually speaking through them. So they became like what? Like false prophets, false teachers. Anyway, it's up to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you think the video worth give it a like. Share it with others if you can. And unless the Lord comes, we'll meet again in another episode. May the Lord bless you all. Salam and